Okay, so today we're going to go over numbers 61 to 70. Example 1 was so easy that I just automatically did it. So go ahead and take a look at the answers here. Your answer is A as in apple. Okay, let's go ahead and get on to question number 62. If you have your cell phone out, keep in mind that remember this is a no cell phone area. You guys will have a 10-minute break in the middle of the day here. So if you have your cell phone, we ask you kindly to put it away. Or if you need to make like an emergency call or text or something, that's fine. Just go outside and do that outside. So please be compliant to that. All right, so let's take a look at number 62. What are the solutions to this? So again, you're gonna go ahead and start it. So you have parenthesis and parenthesis, X, and then create your table. You have your last number, which is 7, and your middle number, which is 8. And then you ask yourself, am I using all positive numbers or negative numbers? And it looks like it is all positive number. Number 62. Oh, sorry, number 62, here we go. Thank you for saying something. That's important. Just watch me, like I got my Zoom going, I could see my answer, but then you guys just have that froze screen for the entire hour. So let's think, 1 and 7, I think that's the only one we can use. And does it give me 8? Yes, it does. So my answer is, this is your answer right here, x plus 1, x plus 7 equals 0. So when you solve for this, what is your x equal then? Well, what's opposite of a positive 1? What's opposite of a positive 7? And your answer has to be B as in boy. All right, number 63. All right, so for number 63, it says which equations are true for x equals -2 and +2. So what you can do here is you can do guess and check, okay? So if you take a look at this part right here, if I put -2 squared minus 4 equals 0, does it equal 0? -2 times -2 is a +4, and yes, it equals 0. But does that also work if I use +2? 2 squared minus 4, does it equal 0? 2 times 2 is 4, minus 4, yep, this is definitely one of my answer is A as in apple, that works. My second answer is gonna be D as in dog. Why is that my correct answer? Well, let's plug it in. When x equals -2, I will have 4 times -2 squared equals 16. -2 times -2 is a +4. Does 4 times 4 equal 16? Yes, it does. Well, what if x equals +2? Plug in the x, so +2 squared equals 16. So does 2 times 2, which gives me a 4, and if I multiply it together, does it give me 16? Yes, it does. So your answer is A and D. And I know you're thinking, you're like, really, Callahan, because why can't it be B, for example? Or why can't it be C? Well, let's try it. If you're saying that it's C, 3 times -2 squared plus 12 have to equal 0, okay? So -2 times -2 is a 4. 4 times 3 is a 12. Well, guess what? 12 plus 12 does not equal 0. That gives you 24. So that's why like C doesn't work. And if you plug those numbers into like B and D, it will also show that it just does not work. Does that make sense, you guys? You guys good with that? Okay. Okay, number 64. Go ahead and take a moment and read that. Brianna is graphing that. What are the x-intercept? So when I ask for the x-intercept, it's just saying what is x equal to when y equals 0. F of x is y, okay? And then remember I said y has to equal 0. So that's equal to x squared plus 6x plus 5. So let's go ahead and factor it out. You're gonna have 2 parentheses, x in the front, but then I don't know what my number is gonna be inside and towards the back. So that's why they do a table, okay? Last number comes first, middle number is on the right side, and then notice there's no negative number, so everything you use have to be positive. So what times what gives you a 5? 1 and 5. I mean, you could do 5 and 1 as well. I mean, it's the same thing, right? And both of them give you 6. So then you're like, okay, so what's my answer? Your answer are going to be these 2 numbers. And it doesn't matter if you put 5 and 1 or 1 and 5, it's the same thing. It's just going to be x plus 1, x plus 5. But you're not done yet because you got to solve it. So if I solve for this, what's opposite of a positive 1? Yeah, what's opposite of a positive 5? And you got to be careful with that because you look at question or answer D, a lot of people pick D, but that's not the right answer. The right answer has to be opposite. So A will be your correct answer. So make sure you guys have the handwritten notes down because anything that's not handwritten, we will be chucking your notes. So make sure you write it down. Last one before your break, I promise. Okay. Give you guys a few more seconds to copy that. Last question, take a break. I know some of you guys are like itching to take your cell phone. I mean, I can see it in your eyes. All right, so a function g of x has x-intercept at this and that, which could be g of x. Okay, so now we're working backwards. So what this is saying is that x equals 1 over 2, x equals 6, okay? So if I put these number back into parentheses, okay, because you're working backwards, you have x and x right here. And if I move this back in here, it has to be opposite. What's opposite of a negative 1 over 2, a positive 1 over 2? It's a negative 1 over 2, right? What's opposite of a positive 6? It's a minus 6. But you got to hold on a second. This is not how you write the first question or the first answer. You have to write it so that this 2 comes in front. So you have 2x minus 1 and x minus 6. Which one does that match? A, B, C, or D? Yeah, this one oh, geez, hold on. 2x minus 1 and x plus or minus 6. This matches B as in boy. So you're just working backwards, you guys. All right, you guys, we're gonna take a brief little break. While you guys are doing this break, keep in mind you need to grab your cell phones and then do your reflection for this class. So I'm gonna give you guys 10 minutes. This is also a good time for you to go potty if you need to go potty. I'm just gonna run to the restroom very quickly. And then I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, I don't even know what they need to. Oh, okay, gotcha. I see what this is. Yeah, I'll take that. Give you guys 10 minutes. Here is your QR code. And you guys have 10 minutes to look at your cell phone, but first fill out your reflection. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. And also, this is a good time for you guys to grab your progress report. So keep in mind you have a progress report for this class. So I will see you at your church today. I'm gonna go over there. And then when we're done with the fall festival thing. Are they doing anything over at your school, the Montessori school? Yeah. Oh, so they're doing anything that's like fall related. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Oh. Oh, that's right. I think I remember you saying that. Who is the principal there? Is it still Steamy Stockton? Oh, it's a guy. Okay. How do you like him? Is he good? It's fine. Yeah. That's better than I thought it would. So Rhonda Clark was a VP here at Huck High School several years ago. And Tammy Stockton was the principal at the Montessori school for like, I think like 10 plus years, 20 years, for a long time. I used to work with her over at the University of Phoenix. She was actually the person that hired me, and she was my mentor. And she retired. So then Rhonda applied for that position, and she was a good fit because where it was like, she's from like, or she's from Washington. She's very kind of like the hippie dippy thinking, because the Montessori school is very liberal, you know what I mean? And so I thought she's gonna be a really good fit. But then the parents were so mean. Like, she made some drastic changes, and she just made everybody so upset. And so then there was that thing where it was like, didn't they change the land or something where there was like money costs and everything with the new building for the Montessori school, and then the money wasn't due or something, and so it just made the parents so upset. Something with financial, like rent being due for this building or something, and so they voted her to get her kicked out. Yeah, and so then Tammy Stockton, who was retired at the time, she came back for like a year or 2 years just to keep the school running. And so now I guess, you know, she's officially retired. And but yeah, but now Rhonda is like the principal over at Clayton Middle School. So I'm just like, it's interesting with these experiences.
I don't know all that history because, you know, they just kind of got it.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
I'm sure I'll be back, but just in case, I'll be right back. Just gonna go pick it up. Hey, you gotta.
You guys have 3 more minutes left. 3 more minutes. I do, right there. Pick whichever one you want, my dear. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, my dear, anytime. All right, you guys. So I have the responses from Martine, Janelli, Camila, Guillermo, Angel, Maite, Patricia, Jessica. So if I did not call your name, I don't have your responses. You need to make sure you submit this. All right, you guys, put your cell phone away and let's focus on number 76. Or 66. All right, you guys, take a moment and read the question. I need you guys to tone it down so I can go over this. So flip your paper over. Oh, excuse me. So if you have your cell phone still out, please put your cell phone away and make sure you're compliant with the rules of this class. All right, so use the graph of this quadratic and wants to answer the following question. What are the zeros? Okay, so the keyword here is 0. You want to go ahead and circle it. 0 just mean what is x equal to when y equals 0? That's essentially what it's asking you to do. So what is x equal to when y is equal to 0? Okay, so then looking at this part here, let's go ahead and see. Do you see where this is where y equals 0? So what are the 2 points right there? The first one looks like it's -2. And the second one looks like it's at 4. Do you guys agree with that? Yeah, so is it A, B, C, or D? A as an apple. And that's how you find the answer to that. And again, not super difficult, but you know, if you don't know what you're asking for, or they're asking for, it might be complicated. But that's where you're taking this class and you're jotting down notes so that when you take your final in another 6 more weeks, you guys will get 35 questions right and you'll move on to bigger and better things. And don't get me wrong, I totally agree. This class is a little bit rigid. You know, we don't do any activities, but at least it's better than doing this on Edgenuity, right? I mean, like we're just gonna be sitting there and finishing all of that stuff by yourself. And I feel like this way you guys have a better chance at passing this class. And you guys do. You guys did a really fantastic job. Like over 70% of you guys passed it last time. James, do you have your pass with you, my dear? Oh, I need to have that, my dear. Let me have that, please. Number 67. Yes. So then if you fail, that's actually a really good question. Okay, so what you're asking is that, so you have Algebra 1, semester 1, right? This right now we're in Algebra. Right now we're in Algebra 1, semester 2. So if you pass this one, that's great, but you then end up failing this one, then that means next semester, I don't really think you have a lot of options. You're gonna have to redo this one like in 2022, 23 school year. Does that make sense? So next year. Yeah. I don't know what that means, but you won't be here for the second semester. So because it doesn't make any sense for you to be back here for next semester if you already passed semester 1. Does that make sense? And again, you don't need to be in this class. If you want to talk to your counselor, I'm speaking over here. You can go and talk to your counselor and you can get yourself removed anytime you want. Nobody wants to force you to be in a class. I mean, if you feel like this is not a good fit, and the thing about it is like they have this class right around 20 kids. And we do have some students who are right now, they're in Edgenuity and they're just doing this by themselves. And it's not a very successful way that they do it. Put your cell phone away, please. Primarily because you guys have taken this class last year on Edgenuity. Did it work well for you? No, not really. You gotta kind of like self-pace yourself, right? And you don't have a teacher to help you. So yeah, that's my explanation of that. So again, if you don't want to be in this class, just talk to your counselor, get yourself out. All right, let's take a look at number 67, you guys. Go ahead and read this one. This one is not a multiple choice question. It's a fill in a blank, which is very different than all the questions we had before, because before we had a bunch of multiple choice questions, right? So this one here with this new task, it's not going to be the same as that. Okay, so when you're looking at your graph, is it touching anything on this line? No, it's not. So what that means is that you have to solve it not by looking at the graph, but then literally by actually solving this. So what is your very first step to solve this? Well, I can't get rid of that -2 because it's attached. I can't get rid of that +2 because it's in the parenthesis. So that tag along number right there, that -1 is the first one. What's opposite of a -1? +1. So in your answer box, if you have this, you just put 1 and that's it. Not -1, just 1. And you guys did a really good job on the last final. So I don't really expect you guys to do anything less than you did last semester. So I expect the same amount of people to pass this class. As long as you're showing up regularly, you're writing down your notes. And if you're going to be absent or tardy, make sure you're watching the YouTube channel. So make sure that you have everything copacetic and ready for the test. You should be good. I have no doubt about that. Number 68. Take a moment and read it. Okay, so what number can be added to the right side to change it with, okay, so it's the same thing. You see the little tag along number right there, you guys? How do I get rid of that -3? Add 3 on both sides. So in the add 3, Daniela, please stop. Add 3 on both sides, so you have a 3, and that is your answer. It's just very simple. Like, you don't have to do anything else. All right, second to last question. Go ahead and take a look here. Okay, so looking at this right here, which one represents this? Well, let's see, where does this graph touch this x equals line or y equals 0 line? So the line I'm talking about, you guys, is this yellow line right here, okay? At this yellow line, you have y is equal to 0. So then where does it touch this right here? The first one that I have here is 3. What's the second one? 7. So then when I plug this into my parentheses, you have x and x, but then remember they have to be opposite. So what's opposite of a +3? What's opposite of a +7? Okay, but here's the problem, okay? So as you guys are looking at this, you're like, wait a second, shouldn't that be B or C? So in this situation, you got to kind of look at your diagram here, okay? And if you look at this graph right here, it's actually a little bit wider than what it should be. This number in the front of that is going to determine whether the number is going to be wider or smaller. So let me show you. If I were to go ahead and use Desmos, let's try this way. Okay, so I'm just do x minus 3 and x minus 7. Do you see your graph right here? Right there in red? Now, on the other hand, if I do 3x minus 3 and x minus 7, what do you guys notice a difference between the green or the blue graph and the red graph? Isn't it a little bit skinnier right here? Right? So if you have a number in the front, your graph is going to be skinnier or more narrow. So then as you look in this question right here, does this question look like it's narrow or is it skinny? You might think that, but you're like, but how do I know that for sure? Well, to know that for sure, this is what you do. Do you see this point right there? Okay. This point is saying x is equal to 8 and y is equal to 15. Okay. So if I plug this number in here, it has to equal each other. So here is a y. So y in this case is 15 is equal to 3 times x. X is 8 minus 3 and x is 8 minus 7. They have to equal each other. Well, I don't know if they do or not because I have 8 minus 3, which is a 5, 8 minus 7, which is a 1. 3 times 5 times 1. Is that 15? Yes, it is. And for that reason, it is this one, which is C as in cat and not B as in boy, because if you were to do that with the B as in boy, y is 15, x is 8 minus 3, and 8 minus 1. 8 minus 3 is a 5. 8 minus 1, or I'm sorry, 8 minus 7 is a 1. 5 times 1 is not equal to 15. So it is not B, it has to be C. And that's why they give you that hint right there with that point. You need to put your cell phone away, please. All right, last question, you guys. Well, I'm gonna go back over here for a second. I think some of you guys are still copying it down. So I'm gonna give you guys another few seconds to copy this part down. Last question. Go ahead and take a look at that, read it, see where you guys are at with that. Okay, so what are the zeros for the graph function? Well, this is gonna be simple, you guys. You're just gonna take those two numbers right there and just do opposite. What's opposite of a positive 3? What's opposite of a positive 5? And then if you take a look at it, just to match it, does it touch this yellow line at -5 and -3? Yeah. And that's it. That's it, you guys. So if you now have 70 questions that we've gone over today, make sure you guys go ahead and highlight your level of understanding on this. And then you guys can put your folders back over here and just chill out. What's up? Oh, okay. Well, what's going on? What are you doing for the next 3 days? Yeah? Are you gonna go to the parade or anything? No? Okay.
It's too late.
Oh, I was gonna ask you, like on
Anthony just
Wednesdays,
left.
since we do SEL, can you help me make some of the stuff for SEL?
Sure, but I don't know what you, I'm
It
not,
doesn't matter. Like
I
I'm
haven't done
just like
anything.
grasping things, and I'm like, I'm exhausted with these 4 prep classes that I have this year.
yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm never gonna teach 4 preps again.
Do you want me to send an email about Anthony? He just left.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm like,
I don't know.
yeah, I'm up there. I'm just like, I don't. I feel like we do. Don't you feel like we have enough time? Well,
No, I feel like with all the holidays and stuff.
okay, so we could do half, like 5 maybe, and then the other half, let's go.
Yeah.
So then I'll present the half of the math. Can you do the other half of this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I might have a label over Wednesday since my mom switched her doctor's appointment on that. And then you will like take the time on Wednesdays for your house and you'll want to teach. Right. Yeah. Like that way it's fair, you know.
I was just so beat yesterday. I did not, I like went home, cleaned up for like 30, I got home late. Because I had like 200
Yeah.
Because it's like the one day that my husband's home.
Oh.
And I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Like,
Okay.
like we could do half days on Wednesdays. I could present for half a day on Wednesdays, and then you do the other half of SEL stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like this work class is like killing me, and then I'm glad that GT class is over, but I'm exhausted. Like my husband, I feel like I just have like this huge house on my food, and normally I'm pretty good about like shaking that off. I just push it out. I'm like, I'll just
It's just been rough. But I think your eyes are very pretty about it. Sorry.
Oh,
It always has to like.
oh, okay. But see, yours is like normal looking. There's some people with those crazy ones.
I didn't.
And whenever you go out for like a fire drill, like you just go see the light like that. Like it is not normal to look like that. You know?
Oh, it's not there.
Oh, I think he's back. Anthony? Yeah, he's back. He's back. Yeah. But next time, make sure you sign out and take the. You did? Oh, okay, good. Did you take the crayons? No.
Yeah.
You gotta take the whole thing. We're running out. Yeah.
You say it's an emergency and I'll be right back and we'll let you go, but you know.
Thank you, Anthony. We thought you left. We're like, where did he go? I'm like, don't make us go ahead and like write another report. I know, and then you're like, don't give her more work. Oh, cool. Thank you. We'll just put on. Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah, that way you don't.
They show up. Here it is.
I do like some of their growth mindset ones. I'm like, those are good. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this person did an awesome job.
No, Anthony, no, those people are going to ask permission.
Okay, let's not do that, please. Come on, you can take over. Join your next class, just not in this one. What?
He's going to go say, Miss I feel like doing your class.
And I'll be like, I didn't say that.
Okay, so should I just